Welcome to the uh, November 5th City Property Committee meeting. FATV is obviously conducting audio and video recording. We have one item on the agenda this evening, 21720 Monterey Oil Corporation to sell, transfer, and convey to Monterey Oil Corporation a certain parcel of land identified as Parcel C and consisting of 1,120 square feet as outlined in the enclosed petition. We also have one tabled matter, which I don't believe anyone has indicated they would like to lift from the table tonight. That being said, I'm told we do not have anyone registered for public comment, so I will skip that portion of the meeting. And the item 21720 is before the committee. I know that Commissioner Barbadoro is present with us tonight. Do you have anything you'd like to add? Sorry?
He has not logged in yet.
Okay, well, in that case, we'll just give him a chance to speak if he shows up later. It is before us.
Motion to approve 21720.
Second.
I have a motion.
On a motion,
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Is the attorney here, Mr. Chair?
I don't believe there's any attorney on the call except me.
I have a question on here on the print that they sent us.
Okay.
It shows that they want, according to the way I'm reading it, we're giving them an extra 10 feet from his property line, from the building out. And if we give him 10 feet, he's taking over part of the driveway on the fire station.
The fire station.
Yep. If you look at the print that they sent us, and you see it in the little square box, if you can read it, it says in that box it shows 10 feet from the building. That's the buffer zone line.
Oh no, Counselor, it's a parcel that, from what I can tell, at least, it's a parcel that is care of the fire department. Oh yeah, that is the fire department. The issue is there's already an encroachment of the car wash into the corner of the lot. They're just looking to extend just enough so that they are not on city property without paying for it. It shouldn't impact fire department operations, or at least no one from the fire department has contacted us to say so.
Well, according to the print, if you read that very, very fine square box with an arrow going to the land, it shows that they want the land goes like this, the print goes like this. Councilor Squire, you know what that means. Look at my hand. They got lines going down. That's the 10 feet boundary line. They want that. That's parcel C.
Yeah, no, Councilor Boschman is right. It does encroach into the driveway of the fire department parcel, for sure.
Okay, can we get some clarification on that? Let's see. I'm seeing the fire department opens out onto North Street, correct? This is Willow Street is the side. I thought there was.
I'm in on Willow Street.
Yeah, okay. All right. Hang on just a moment. I've got Attorney Avini texting me asking if he needs to call in. I will ask him to, and then we can clarify that.
It looks like the driveway may be 25 feet wide, and if we are extending this out 10 feet from the existing building, then we would have to reconfigure that driveway space for the fire department.
No, I really don't. I would rather prefer them have a right of way on that piece of property, not give them that piece of land.
Well, a right of way I don't believe would help. Attorney Avini is going to call in and he can give some more detail on what the thinking is here. But because this is a physical structure encroachment, a right of way alone would not solve their problem.
Counselor
Talking
Zabala,
about on the 10 feet.
Right.
Sorry.
So
Sorry.
okay, just one second here. Can we get a number for Attorney Avini to call, please?
Does he have access to a computer?
I'm checking.
What page? I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
I just have a question about what I'm looking at. Are we looking at the thing called parcel B? Is that,
No, C.
So parcel B is the existing land. Parcel C is right north of it, right
Yeah.
to the north side of the car wash there. That hatched area, if you look on page, what page is this?
Okay, so he
That's
does.
the 10 acquisition sketch.
Oh, all right, one sec. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm
Continue.
sorry, what page?
It's on a print.
is it
Yeah,
9? Something called parcel B on the big picture.
No, it's right above that.
It's on the big picture. I don't know, my page numbers are too low for some
Where the
reason.
car washes.
Right, and I see that
so
the
page 8?
I'm looking at page 9 on mine, and it shows like the brick structure of the car wash past the property line.
Again. Right here,
8, yes, page 8.
page 8, okay.
Yes. See the hatched area that says potential acquisition area right on North Street, on Willow Street,
Okay,
like
North
17
Main.
feet from Willow Street and 10 feet approximately from the building.
okay, yep,
And if you were to look on Google Maps and where the the fire department is, you'll see that that will encroach directly on the driveway that is the Willow Street access for the fire department.
okay, I see what you're talking about.
Hmm. Yeah, Attorney Avini
Yeah.
is getting a link right now, so hopefully we can get that clarified because certainly
I'd-
if it's going
like to
to
hear from the-
cost. Sorry?
I'd like to hear from the fire department if we can lose, if that can just be, I don't know, one way, because otherwise we're gonna have to cut down a tree, it looks like, and do some excavation and some new repaving in order to push this back.
Well,
Well, the building size isn't changing, right? All he's asking, all Montori Corporation is asking us to do is to grant him, I mean, he's not moving the car wash, right?
right, he's not expanding at all.
He's
It's just an
asking for-
existing
For
encroachment.
10 feet beyond that.
Right, he's asking to own that for setback purposes,
Right,
but not necessarily to build anything there.
right. No,
But
not a
here's
building.
here's Attorney Avini. Give him a moment. Hello, Attorney. How are you? Oh, you're muted.
Do some
Oh,
excavation
there you go.
in order to push this back.
So the question we've had is, it appears that
He's asking, all Montori Corporation is asking us to do is to,
okay,
Attorney, if you're watching the live stream or on TV, you have to shut that off.
right, he's not expanding at all. It's just an existing. Oh, that's what's happening. Okay.
Hearing ourselves a couple minutes ago.
Okay, so the question we've had is, it appears that the setback area that, I'm sorry, we still can't hear you. Is your
Can you hear me,
speaker?
can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, yep.
Yes,
Sorry, I apologize.
No, it's all right. So the setback area appears to be impinging on the driveway of the fire station.
Well, all right, so the first thing, folks, is we need to comply with zoning, we need to meet the setbacks.
Right.
Okay? The second thing is the fire department's access is off of North Street. This is an ancillary access. I've been to the site several times, I've walked it. I didn't have an exact distance, but there's quite a distance up Willow Street for the access off of Willow Street. So I understand the issue, but the plan was drawn to comply with zoning because we have to meet that 10-foot setback to make that encroachment work.
Okay. Sorry, Counselor Green.
Yes, attorney, that's fine. I'll take it.
You can have it. You can have it. You can, whatever you want to take it all over. Come on over.
There are no there's no curbs on Willow Street, right? So
Oh.
if the fire truck even had to go a little further to not encroach on this 10 feet to meet zoning, it would not be a problem for those fire trucks that ever had to come up Willow Street and get into the station.
Well, it's there, and I mean, the property lines are on the ground. The trucks can drive over there as much as they want. It's only the purpose of that 10-foot is to comply with zoning. It's not gonna impact the pavement, the curb cut, any of those issues.
So I don't know if this is even necessary. I'm just thinking out loud here, but would Mr. Monturi be willing to give the fire department a right-of-way over that?
Well, I guess, you know, the final deed has not been drafted. I don't know how that would affect what's on the city council agenda tonight, but there wouldn't be an issue if the city reserved a right-of-way in the deed over the 10 feet.
Okay.
And if I thought that was going to be an issue based on, you know, I didn't get any pushback about what I proposed. If that was an issue, I would have added to the deed reserving to the city, you know, a right of way over the 10 feet. That's not
Sure. I'm just brainstorming in case there's objection.
Yeah, it's a simple fix in the deed.
Mhm.
The encroachment's there. That encroachment's been there since 2005. It's not. I mean, it's something that's not going to go away.
Right. Counselor Boschman?
When I talked to the fire department prior, I talked to Chief Roy. When this building went in, they wanted to move the light fixture, and he said no. Then they talked about the entranceway for the fire truck to come up Willow Street and go in. The reason why that's that big is because that entranceway is that wide is because of the fact that his fire trucks are so big, and to make the turn, they need it that wide. That's what I was told. So that's why they put the shrubbery coming down by the car wash on an angle. As you look on the print, it goes on an angle, and all your bushes and everything else are on that angle. And right behind the bushes is the entranceway of the for the fire trucks.
That's not, all due respect, that's not how I saw it. I actually took some photos when I was there. The location of the car wash as it encroaches in city property is not going to impact that turn. So what we're talking about is kind of an abstract theory here, folks, if you will. The structure's already there, and the trucks are getting in and out now. Wherever the shrubs are, the shrubs are. You know, I think the concern, if I'm hearing it correctly, is what rights are going to be to this 10-foot area. And what I'm saying is we need to comply with zoning, and the easy fix is for the city to reserve an easement. I'll pull up the photos I took when I walked the site. I don't know if I'm going to be able to share them, but I didn't see it that way. And again, I think the station was modified at some period of time after this car wash was there. Again, the car wash has been there since 2005.
Right, but the station got built in 1996.
Yeah.
So the car wash came after. Mr.
Wait,
Chair, you
I
don't
mean-
mind if I ask him a question, do you?
No, you can add,
Oh,
sir,
you
it's
still,
about,
you
about-
still have the floor.
it's about trying to it's about coming up with a solution. I'm just
But-
trying to pull up my pictures.
But my question to you, according to the building commissioner and according to the special permit, in 1999, according to the special permit, the city gave you the okay to build your car wash on their property, I guess. That's what, I didn't think so,
No,
but
no,
think
I don't, that,
All right.
no, that's not in the special permit.
No, in fact, Counselor, just to clarify, that is not something that the zoning board or the planning board have the authority to grant. So unless there's some act of the city council that said that, that would not.
Right here, it is. I
resolve
got it. You
this.
received it in your package. Document number 308-99.
Right.
I think
Page,
that's a special permit, I believe.
Right, that's the
Yes.
special permit
Right.
granting an
That
open
doesn't,
public
that doesn't
hearing.
say the city, that doesn't say the city's allowing the encroachment. It just gave him a special permit.
Right. From what I can gather, Counselor, what happened was simply that no one was aware of the encroachment at the time. It just was not noticed by anyone whose job it was to notice it, and so the special permit was granted without knowledge of the encroachment, not a special permit for the purpose of encroachment. Does that explain what you're looking at, Counselor?
No. It's not what I was looking. Because according
I
to the
don't see-
special permit, according to where I read by a vote of 8 in favor and 1 opposed, it said no special permit takes effect until record in the registry of deeds.
Right,
Right.
that's standard.
And then, and the other thing that I was told that back in 2001, when he started the process, because I asked the commissioner, and you can get him on the phone, he probably can explain it better than me. He told me that there was no setback at that time because it didn't fall underneath the Fitchburg State College zoning. It was the regular commercial zoning for downtown at that time, where you could go right up to the property line to build. And you can ask, I believe you can ask that person, the attorney for Mr.
Well,
Monterey.
right. It's right in the table of uses that we need a 10-foot side setback.
Right, it may very well be currently grandfathered, Counselor Boschman, but best practice would be to clear that up so that if it loses its grandfathered status, it's not a problem in the future.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, are you good,
Who, me?
Counselor?
No, I'm not, because I got a couple other.
Okay, okay,
And-
you
and my
still
oth-
have the floor.
And my other questions to the attorney is this: could we get in writing that the Teresa land, that the new owners will take care of, whoever's going to do it, if it's Mr. Monterey or not, in writing, that they will still maintain the bushes and the flower bed right behind their property, the wall, maintain the wall and where the flowers are, like they do now for the last 10 years or 15 years they've been doing? Can we get that in writing?
I'm not sure. I mean, that's really not even a covenant type of an issue. I mean, Mr. Montori has been a good steward of the community and he took care of it. I don't, all due respect, sir, I can't really tell you what the next gentleman's gonna do because it really doesn't have anything to do with the usage. You're talking about aesthetics. Maintaining the wall, I mean, the building inspector could go in and tell him, yes, you're gonna maintain the wall, but I can't put in writing that he's gonna keep the flowers up and keep the shrubs up in the same condition Mr. Montori is, or has been, or you know, has in the past. It's just something I just can't commit to what this future buyer is gonna do. The gentleman purchasing it is a corporation that has been at that property, I wanna say for 3 or 4 years. And he has been, as part of the lease, he's been maintaining it. So I don't know why he wouldn't continue to do that, but I'm not gonna be able to put in writing that he's going to, because it's something that would not be part of a normal commercial transaction like this.
Yeah, but the way I understand it, sir, and correct me if I'm wrong, I was told that part of the transaction for Mr. Montori to get part of that land that the city gave him was with the understanding that he would maintain the wall and the beautification of behind that wall, in between that wall. That's the understanding I had.
All right, well, all right, so it's just to understand where I'm working from. The record title was at the Registry of Deeds kind of would control that. And I don't see anything in the documents that I've had from the abstractor where there was any kind of a covenant or agreement that states that. And that, again, all due respect, that would be kind of unusual.
What you're
Have that.
talking about, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you.
get Anthony, it's fine.
What you're talking about, Councillor Boschman, is what would typically come in as, say, a special permit condition or something. The zoning board frequently puts conditions like that, but not in a deed. It wouldn't really pertain to what we're talking about tonight.
It wouldn't, but that's all part of the thing. What ended up happening for the city, the way I understand it, with Chief Roy, with him giving that land, so Mr. Montori could expand his business behind the Dunkin' Donuts and that, so he had more of a right of way, and he got the right of way, was that he would maintain that piece of property. And I'm not saying Mr. Montori hasn't done that; he has. But now, with the sale of it, this should be kept up because that was part of the agreement that would be taken care of.
Councillor, what we're hearing though is that the person it's going to be sold to has already been maintaining it up to this point anyway. So it's not really something we can put as a condition of the sale. So I don't really think we can do anything about it here tonight.
Well, if we don't, it's like you guys are an attorney, and you usually tell me if I go to an attorney, you got to get everything down in writing, and if I don't get everything down in writing, I'm giving something. This guy can turn around tomorrow after he buys the property, say, "Screw Fitchburg, I'm not taking care of it any longer. That's your responsibility."
But Councillor, he's a businessman. Why would he want his property to not be kept up?
Well,
All right, Councillor, if it's okay, I'll come back to you if you have more questions, but we
No,
have
let
two
somebody
other
else talk.
councillors
Okay.
waiting.
I'm trying to find that paperwork I had.
Okay, so first, I apologize, Councillor Squalia. I did not have my chat window open when you first entered your marker, so you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I agree with Councilor Boschman about what it's in writing. Not necessarily the landscaping, but considering that this would be for the sale of that property, and technically the new owners could do anything they want, I would like to see in writing that would be a permanent right of way for the fire department, or however it needs to be legally drafted and worded such that the City of Fitchburg Fire Department can use that land in perpetuity for driveway access. And if I see that, or if we approve this petition with such wording as that is required, then I would be in favor of that. But that needs to be a requirement for me. Thank you.
Councillor Green?
Yes, thank you. I don't know. I agree that, yeah, in order to keep the city of Fitchburg protected, I would like to see just the wording giving the reserve the right of way to the city of Fitchburg and or to the Fitchburg Police Department or Fitchburg Fire Department. And the whole maintenance issue, if that's going to be the sticking point, then that should come down to enforcement, and that has nothing to do with what's before us tonight. What's before us is granting the 10 feet so that Mr. Montori can move forward with the sale of that property, knowing that it's conveyed with our reserve of the right of way. Thank you.
All right, Councillor
Yeah.
Boschman, did you have more?
Yeah, I get Mr. Chair. In all fairness to Council Green, this all happened. And the reason, if you go back to the history and you find out the history of this piece of property, that Mr. Monterey was not going to put that car wash where it is. What ended up happening, that car wash was going up further. And what ended up happening, Chief Roy got upset because it was going to block his fire station. So, in all fairness to Mr. Monterey, he did a nice job. He says, okay, I'll resolve that. I'll push it down. And so he pushed it down to where it is now. And he encroached on our land. Because if you went down there and you look, if he put the thing in the proper location, the third pump he wouldn't have today. So he went further. And it's like everybody turned a blind, I'm not finding fault, but everybody turned a blind eye. Part of the agreement was they would maintain the property that is between the fire station and his building, that strip of land too. And if we don't have that in writing, what's the sense of being a councilor? We should have it in this sale.
Counselor,
if
that's
we take
that's not the kind of thing we can include in the deed. As Attorney Avini said, that would be sort of a novel type thing to include in a deed. It's not the kind, if you go through the registry, that's not the sort of thing you see. There are such things as deed covenants, but not for that.
Aren't we doing a novel thing? Because usually if you look at this something, we get two sets of standard here. We tell, when we buy a piece of land, and I'll give a prime example, the rail trail, we told people, this is our land, get your stuff off of it. There's no novelty there.
And that's exactly why Mr. Monterey needs to purchase this parcel, so that he's not encroaching on city land anymore. So I understand that there was some irregularity in the past, obviously. If there wasn't, there wouldn't be an encroachment. But we're here tonight just to decide whether we're going to allow him to resolve that irregularity by purchasing the parcel he's encroaching on.
Well, Mr. Chair, if we can't come to an agreement on that little strip of land in the middle for beautification in the wall, then I may vote against this acceptance of selling that 10 feet. Because I don't think it's right. I think we need it in writing. It should be in writing, and that's the way it should be. In my personal opinion, that's it.
All right.
I'm tired of not having things in writing, and then all of a sudden you say, well, it's nothing in writing, so I don't have to do it. And I think you guys as an attorney know that.
Okay.
Oh, all right, hold on. Okay, 'cause I know you guys are running late because you got other meetings to go to. So just a comment. I inherited this file about 6 or 8 weeks ago. Mr. Motion, what happened here is there was some deed swaps going on because the city needed a corner of North Street to install a street light, right?
I know.
So I can't support what you're saying about Mr. Montori moving things around to his benefit, because I'm not sure that's what happened, all due respect. What happened is the piece we're talking about was supposed to be added to a strip that the city conveyed to Mr. Montori, and it got missed. That came to light when they did a 2019 easement plan, and the surveyor laid it out and showed the encroachment. So I can just deal with what I have records of. I hear what you're saying. There was some discussions. I wasn't part of that. I wasn't around when that happened. I'm just telling you what I'm here to do, what I'm trying to fix.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
All due respect, sir, reserving a right-of-way is personally reasonable. I didn't get any pushback, and that is something I can tell you right now, Mr. Montori will agree to. But as far as maintaining it or doing some kind of a covenant to maintain it, that's something that is not anything I have authority to do, because I can't bind the buyer. You know, and again, all due respect, sir, Mr. Montori's done a good job maintaining that property, and there's no reason this other gentleman's not either. And there are enforcement provisions the building inspector can impose if it becomes unsightly. If the wall starts to deteriorate, he can get an order to fix it. If the shrubs get overgrown, or, I mean, when you're talking about planting flowers, I may have a certain taste of flowers. Somebody else may have a certain taste in flowers. That's why we don't do it, because no one can figure out what the intent was on that. So bark mulch, red black mulch, black bark mulch, we can't get into those issues when we do this kind of conveyance. We can say to you, we'll allow you to reserve the right of way.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to move this along because we're encroaching on the city council now. I've got a motion to approve from Counselor Green. Is there a second? Seeing none, I have, just a moment, Counselor Squally. I have Counselor Fleming to speak.
I was just trying to understand what it was that Council Boshin was trying to do. Was he trying to have it put in for beautification of the property to keep it up, or is it for the something to be put in there binding that the fire department will always have use in this of that exit?
The former is what Counselor Boschman was discussing just
Okay.
recently.
But we do want to amend it to add that the Fitchburg Fire Department, correct?
Right, there's no issue with the right of way, and if I knew that was gonna be a live issue, I would have drafted it in the deed. I
Okay.
didn't get any pushback. And I know this has been, a very swift moving process, but if I had that pushback, I would have inserted it in the draft deed that I sent to Attorney Pusateri. You can put in your vote that the city's gonna reserve a right of way. That's not an issue. That's some very simple language in a deed.
All right.
Certainly, and thank you for your cooperation in that, Attorney Abini. Counselor
So
Fleming?
Motion,
instead of approving this motion as is, we can amend it right now.
Right.
And,
Yes.
all right.
so
So,
I'll make a motion to amend the current petition to approve it and include language in the deed that there's a permanent right of way for the city of Fitchburg and the fire department.
Second,
All right, I have a motion and second to amend. I'm going to take this by roll call. Counselor Green,
yay.
Counselor Boschman,
I want to make sure I understand. Are we going to have that in the registry?
Counselor, we're in the midst of taking a vote, so there is no
No.
comment.
No, then.
Okay, Counselor Fleming,
yes,
Counselor Squalia,
Yay.
and I am also a yes. That the amendment passes 4-1. And the main matter
Motion
is
to
now
approve
before
the
us as
petition.
amended.
second.
Motion to
I-
approve as amended.
and
I have a
second.
motion and second to approve as amended. Roll call vote, Counselor Green,
Yes,
Counselor Boschman,
No.
Counselor Fleming,
Yes,
Counselor Squalia,
Yay.
and I am also a yes. That passes 4-1. And that concludes our agenda for the evening.
Motion to adjourn.
second.
Anthony, one thing?
Go ahead.
I didn't log on to the city council agenda. Should I, in case this comes up again, or, I don't know how you want to handle it.
Might not be the worst idea. I can't speak for the other counselors who aren't
Yep.
present, but there may be further questions.
Sure. So, I didn't get a link on the agenda to sign in, so I guess I'll have to try to figure that out.
Nation,
I'll send a link to you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I have a motion and second to adjourn. If there is no objection, we'll take it by unanimous consent. Seeing none, we are adjourned, and I'll see you all in a minute on the city council.